Got it.
Welcome, 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 beautiful woman. I am so excited to be sitting here today with the wonderful Andrea Borg, all the way from which part of the world?
Missoula, Montana.
Missoula, Montana. Oh my goodness. I think it's super cold right now at your place, right?
It is very cold, yes.
Yes, I can see like the black jumper and yeah, totally. So very honored for us to be sitting down here together and speak about a way of helping women embrace their sensuality and actually foster an unshakable confidence through Andrea's really unique and very thoughtful 5Bs method that she coined under the umbrella of Queen's Drip. So Andrea, firstly, welcome. It's an honor to have you here with us today.
Thank you so much, Dagmar. It's a pleasure of mine as well.
So let us begin with the very definition of Queen's Drip. And just before we started, I was like, what does this Queen's Drip actually stands for? It's kind of very exotic and inviting name, but what is it for and how does this name came about?
So Queen's Drip originally came from that divinity of being your own nectar, being your own medicine, that your body is your medicine. And then it's also a cool play on words because that drippiness of royalty and that kind of abundant, really flush fertility feeling of drip and nectar and royalty. And then also another play on word of that wetness, that ability to really be in your pleasure, be with your body, and feel really an overflow and excess of your own pleasure and bliss.
Ooh, I have like goosebumps. Like, hell yes, I'm this mama that's constantly going here. It's like, it's either business or clients or my little room. It's like on. And this beautiful invitation that you have for us as women is little like letting a nectar of pleasure flowing down my spine. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Now, I see Letitia, welcome, welcome, beautiful. Inga is with us from Zurich, Switzerland. Welcome, gorgeous. So as we are going along, please let your thoughts, let your questions, let your maybe insights and ahas be dropped in the comments. We want to be here for you. We want to make it really engaging and really interactive. So, Andrea, you have, under the Queen's Drip, really combined years and years of your studies and your work with clients. You are a very established Tantra practitioner. You actually call yourself Tantra Queen. You have been working with women, with couples, with men around their sexuality, around their orgasmic reclamation. And you have combined it. You've just recently completed our Flourish certification program. You really combined that with the studies of the body and the nervous system and created these very meaningful 5 pillars. You call them 5Bs. What are those pillars that allow women facilitate a Queen's Drip?
Absolutely. So we have the 5Bs. We have the brain, right? Do you want me to explain each one or just tell the
I will
5Bs?
get you there, but just like if you can give us the what are the 5Bs?
Yeah. So we have the brain, the body, the breath, the bliss, and the bang.
You are combining breath and bank account in the same place? Oh my God, like sign me up, baby. All
Absolutely.
Right. So we've got, let me repeat, we've got breath, we've got brain, body, bliss, and bank account. Now, before we go like defining all of them, like why combination of the 5? Like what made you make a decision that that's what's needed in order to help women reclaim their pleasure?
Yes. So I built this as a step-by-step building block process of recalibrating and rewiring the entire human, their entire system to feel like they're in overflow and thriving in their own life. And process is built in a way to really support the nervous system, support that body safety, so that they can feel an unshakable connection to their deepest confident self.
So beautiful, so beautiful. Could you like a little bit unwind this and step back? Because I know like obviously right now there's so much stress and pain and suffering. You know, pandemic is like affecting everyone. Omicron is like wiping the planet, right? And pretty much everyone is affected by COVID in some shape or another.
Mm-hmm.
And like the stress and the fear and the uncertainty is pretty much most of the people day-to-day reality. So could you help us understand how working, and I think specifically like with the body, breath, and bliss can help take women from this stress, fear, uncertainty into just feeling exquisite in their skin?
Yes. Absolutely. This is a really challenging time. And because we've been shook to our core, it is not uncommon to feel disconnected or maybe even circumstantially depressed or just really out of your body. And so this is a process of soothing and massaging the brain while
Hold on. How
establishing.
do you massage your brain, by the way? How do you massage your brain?
Well, I've learned many tools and techniques on massaging the brain, not only through Flourish, your amazing flagship program, with hand techniques, ball techniques, taping techniques, right? Other ways that are maybe more familiar to an audience would be meditation or hypnosis, right? And this can also be done through journaling, just choosing the thoughts you want to be having, reestablishing them, reaffirming them, and figuring out the beliefs and the thoughts going through your mind that aren't supportive to your everyday life. And when we've gone through something really intense and difficult, those thoughts become less and less our teammates. So we want to make sure that we're creating thoughts that are supporting us and helping us feel our best self. Once we learn and understand how that brain piece works and how we can massage the brain and massage our thoughts, then we move into our body and creating that connection to the physical and internal emotional self, and learning how to feel safe inside of our body and what that looks like. And that looks like practices that allow you to take place with your body. And we communicate between the brain and the body through our breath. That is our communicator. That is our portal. That is the thing that allows us to feel alive between this brain and body piece. And that all creates a relationship, right? So when we're building a relationship to anything, it takes time and intention and investment. And that's what we're doing. You're creating an actual relationship with your own self through this easy to follow step-by-step guide. And that gives you an opening to your bliss, to your pleasure. Who am I? What do I want? What do I like? What turns me on? What gets me excited? Right? It's hard to know all those things when you're in uncertainty and fear and stress and anxiety. So first we move you out of all that. We re-regulate you. We get you out of surviving and we move you toward thriving. Right? And once you're feeling more regulated and thriving, then you're like, okay, now let's bring in that bliss piece. Now let's have a little bit more pleasure and fun.
I love this distinction. And I see Linda with us. Welcome, gorgeous. I see Isabel. Hello, beautiful. And this is really powerful distinction because both you and I, we spend a lot of time in like the Tantra world and in the sexuality world. And, you know, the work is very, very beautiful, but what I see a lot is, especially when people don't have established that really foundational element of like, I feel good in my body, I feel safe in my body. If they don't have this foundational framework of operating and being at ease with all the like millions of sensations that are available to us moment to moment, like diving into the pleasure. And this is something I have experienced a lot working heavily with women around sexual trauma, is like just a loops of re-traumatization. So I am loving that you're actually sequencing, people's transformation and people's experience in a way that allows them to tap into the pleasure in a way that feels nourishing and expansive.
Absolutely, Dagmar. And just to kind of add to that, I noticed, in my work, when working closely with clients, is they come to you wanting to feel a certain way or desiring a connection to their pleasure, or they think they want multiple orgasms or this like blowout mind bliss. And that to get there is a slow process, right? First, we have to really invite you back into your body so you even know if that's okay to go there. So I absolutely agree with you. In the Tantra world, it could be really easy to cross right over into that energetic work. And we're skipping over that embodied safety and nourishment piece. And the work from Flourish of really regulating the nervous system and working with the vagus nerve really helped me promote and establish and spend a lot more time in that building body safety world. And I've created a different kind of approach to Tantra world because of it.
Wow. I am loving what's really like what's blossoming here, which what it sounds like very trauma-informed approach to embracing and dipping toes. I think part of the like Queen's drip, the drip is there because is a very meaningful place for women that are actually new to exploring their sexuality. It's like dipping their toes into doing pleasure and like stepping into orgasmic practices or sexuality practices in a way that's not scary, but in a way it's like, yes, I can do it in a really gentle and loving way and give myself time. You've spoken about the time. It takes time to foster relationship, or foster a new way of being. So we've got a breath, we've got a body, we've got a brain. Now, there's also this bank account. Like, why are you bringing money piece into this? I'm so curious.
Absolutely. So it turns out that, I can take this a couple different directions, but to simplify things, pussy loves money. We'll start there. And one of the reasons is because energetically, that is your root chakra. That is where your womb and your pleasure center also live. And providing that kind of safety and security and stability that comes with your money, sitting with your money. Just like we took the time to build a relationship to your body in a slow and nourishing and empowered way, we will replicate that process with money and your bank account. You deserve to have a nourishing relationship to money. You deserve to feel supported by your finances. You deserve to feel empowered with how you spend money, make money, save money, invest money, donate money. You should feel totally aligned in your relationship to money. And when you feel that nourishment, when you feel that empowerment, you navigate your life differently. You choose to spend and invest in yourself. You choose to up level yourself. You choose to believe that you are worthy of your destiny. And so it seems like a small concept, but we don't look at money enough, especially as womb body people. We are not looking at money enough. We are back into that stress and fear and uncertainty, right? Just like we had to work through the body and the brain and the bliss, we have to do that with a bank account. Are you putting money into your retirement? Are you investing in stocks and bonds? Do you feel comfortable lending somebody in the family money? Really defining boundaries with money, your relationship with money, and feeling like I am capable of earning and spending and saving and investing and donating at levels that feel super aligned and nourishing to me.
This speaks everything to me. And one of the big things that like gathers people in this group, we've got a lot of healers, we've got a lot of practitioners, we've got a lot of people that are doing beautiful work with healing the body. But there is a lot of the healer's wound going around, which is this ultimately patriarchal idea that we just need to give ourselves for, overgiving, undercharging, burning ourselves out because God forbid, we charge well or we receive money. So what I see, and it's definitely a journey I have been on for what felt like eternity when I was going through that. A lot of women that are in this group and then know my story, they know that I came from nothing. Like when I was 7 years old, I was stealing food in the shops because we had no food and no money at home. And I had to like really dove deeply into myself to overcome just like what felt like a lifetime of poverty, no money, no food, and tremendous survival mentality. And what I came to realize in like both through my process, but also being in my business is a lot of healers want to like overturn patriarchy, but we cannot overturn patriarchy on budget. It's literally impossible.
Right. Or go ahead.
Yeah. So like this expensive and the nourishing relationship we are inviting with our bodies and like replicating that into a nourishing relationship with our money so that we have agency to make choices, whether we want to save more or support a meaningful cause, or I don't know, go for cocktails during happy hour, or maybe not so happy hour, like whatever tickles your fancy. I'm definitely looking forward to the cocktails when things open up over here. But we truly, in order to bring our best selves to the world, in order to, create businesses that honor all life, ours included, we have to work with our money wounds, and we have to start up-leveling relationship with our finances, a relationship with money. So what does that look like in the Queen's Trip, which I know it's a 5 months experience? What does that look like on a practical level, working with money and like building this new financial narrative for your people?
Right. So we will replicate a similar experience to how we build a relationship with the body. So we'll learn to find the safety, right? And move out of surviving first, just like we did with the body, and learning practices and rituals and moving through the mindset pieces around money too, feeling worthy around money. Just like you were saying, the budget piece, like that's a scarcity thing. So knowing that you don't have enough, right? We're gonna move you out of that contraction of what likely your current relationship with money is, and then open you up into feeling expansive. I can live in excess and overflow. There's enough money for me. There's enough money for everyone. And really, again, changing the relationship with the brain, and then creating the safety in the body. I can have more, I can hold more, right? Because then there comes a whole chapter about being able to hold the wealth. And then we'll also talk, implicate some practical things. Like I used to work at a hedge fund. I spent time working in finance.
Oh, really?
So,
I did not know that about you. Oh, wow. You've got a real
so
financial diva here.
Yeah. So I'm very comfortable with like the practicalities of managing your money too. So we'll talk about that. How to pay yourself, how you can save easily, how you can really start to maneuver with your money in ways that are feeling informed and empowered, right? I will teach you the practical pieces, the energetic pieces, the emotional and physical pieces, and the environmental pieces. So we'll go through all the different health pieces that tie back into money. And I'll take everyone through exercises. We'll even do a money, sex, magic ritual one day We're gonna hit
Just
it
pause
all.
with me, because there might be women that are listening to this like, what did she say? Sex, magic, money, ritual. What is that? What is sex
So,
magic for money? What does that look like?
of course. So that's going to be the Tantra inspired tools stepping in, right? So pulling from all my different backgrounds at all times. And we'll do it in a trauma informed way as well, where we will invite you to bring actual money into a container, right? Like the physical pieces of money. So that cold hard cash, right?
What cash
Using
you got
cold
on you? How much you got on you right now? On
right
a
now
fork? And it's on a fork.
it's on a little hand.
Oh, hand.
It's a
Okay.
little,
It's like, I am
but
receiving right here.
I've got
Bring it my way.
some pesos. I usually have some euros in here too, but I've got $251.20 pesos on here right now. But just like, being holding the money, sitting with the money, physically and energetically, and being with the money, right? And then we will integrate, because we took 4 months before the bank chapter, right? We took 4 months building this relationship with our body and our pleasure. We'll integrate the body pleasure experience into the money experience in a ceremonial like way, where we really work with the breath and the pleasure, and we communicate with the relationship we're building with money, and we ask to be expanded and see what we can actually feel is possible within our systems for money.
Wow, it's such a beautiful experience. And one of the area that really stood out for me, that I know it's not being spoken enough about, is like you mentioned the term environmental in context of the money. What does that look like?
That's a great question. So I think it could look a couple different ways. So environmental one can be like your immediate environment. So maybe the city you live in or the country you live in, and the kind of relationship that you have to money or resources or jobs based off of that specific environment. And then there's also like the day-to-day environment that you participate in. What does your day look like? Your flow? Where do you go? What places do you visit? How do you create your own inner environment in that aspect? And this is important because it helps define narratives that you receive around messaging around money. It gives you the beliefs that you either are buying into, maybe consciously or unconsciously, around money, right? So understanding how your day-to-day environment and the place that you're in, either the place you live in or the spaces you're participating in, affects the way that you see and feel and use and navigate money.
Powerful. Both the inner and outer environment, and kind of that fostering that harmonious symbiosis between the two. So we've got, and what you're inviting women to step into is this 5 months. And I know we've done some messaging work last Friday, and we call it like this rite of passage. This is a rite of passage for women to connect with these 5 pillars, which are once again the breath, brain, body, bliss, and bank account. And this like, it culminates into fostering this unshakable confidence. So tell us, for those women that are watching either now on live or on a replay, like, what kind of maybe challenges or like situations that they might be finding themselves, or what kind of like places in their lives they might be at where they could confidently feel, or even have like maybe like that right calling, that stepping the queen strip would be incredibly supportive and meaningful for the stage of their life they are in. Who is this for?
Absolutely. This program was designed for the queen that maybe doesn't even feel like a full queen yet, that struggles to make decisions in her day-to-day life because she doesn't feel self-assured or in alignment with who she is. So she might spend hours in worry or anxiety just trying to make a simple decision. The human may also struggle with feeling good when she sees herself naked in the mirror, or when she's trying to be sensual with a lover, her partner, or whoever, right? So maybe they don't feel comfortable being intimate with the lights on or in the daylight. Maybe they want to have more pleasure, or maybe even reach orgasm for the first time. Maybe they know that they're in a toxic partnership, whether that's their lover partnership or their work partnership, or they may have like a dead-end job or a dead-end partner, and they know they need to leave that relationship, but they're in total anxiety and uncertainty about it because they don't have a support system to carry them through that kind of decision, and they don't know who they would be afterward. This program is for the human that's looking for more time to themselves, how to cultivate and nourish a practice of self-care.
And
this is also,
I just want to a little bit dive deeper into this one.
Yeah.
Because this whole concept of self-care, like we see that everywhere, right? You need to take care of yourself, you need to fill your own bank, you know, for women, let's say, who have especially like younger kids, like always take care of your own tank before putting the child mask on. Like that message is everywhere. We know that.
Right.
But
Right.
we are not, or like a lot of women are not acting on that. And this is the piece that we are looking at so heavily in Flourish, like why do people are not meeting their needs? So what can you speak about this disconnect of, okay, I know I take care of myself more, but I'm failing to do that because of whatever it is. Where is the disconnect here, and how Queen Strip helps to address that?
Yeah, I think the disconnect partly is just making it easy and approachable. Like, where do I start with self-care? How do I do self-care, right? And even if you know how, it's like allocating the time and commitment and then holding yourself accountable. Thing about Queen's Drip is once a week, you get to jump on a live and be held in a juicy way and be supported and guided to care for yourself, so that you don't have to do the heavy lifting. You don't have to do the overthinking. You don't have to figure out when and how you're going to do it or hold yourself accountable. You get guided and supported and just, you know, like held like a little baby. And I will take you through that process. Number one. I think the other big disconnect is having it feel rewarding enough to go back there. Right. So it's like,
This
okay, I did like it's like, okay, I did a face mask, right? Like, okay, did that really change my vibe? Like, right. And it's so much more than that, right? The self-care that I'm offering to you is an opportunity to become more intimate with yourself. And it's this intimacy that feels rewarding. And with the tools and tricks that I will teach you, you can dip this intimacy in 5 to 15 minutes a day and feel that deep connection, and you will desire to have more of that self-care. So the drive behind it, the intention behind it will cultivate for you as well, and it'll feel more accessible. And then you'll know, okay, that's why I'm doing this.
I love that you bring forward this like such an exquisite invitation to fostering intimacy with self. And I am a huge believer, again, we are like in space of practitioners and healers. I believe that the more intimacy we create with ourselves, the deeper we are able to go with our clients. Like really the depth of our work is symbiotic, is equivalent to the willingness and the depth of ourselves, our nervous system, our psyche, that we are willing to go. So from your perspective and in your experience, and like how you are cooking up this amazing portal to help people foster this unshakable confidence, for the healers and practitioners in this group, how would you say this intimacy and this fostering body safety, how could that help them in their business?
Well, Dagmar, I don't have to tell you, but building your business is one of the most uncomfortable and challenging and confronting things you could ever
Yes, you
possibly
want to run like 10,000 times a day.
So if you want to step into a place that brings up all your stuff, building your own business is a sure way to do that. So I think that to answer your question, however, a willingness and devotion into deep self intimacy, really willing to go there into those pieces with yourself, is not only going to be able to allow you to hold that space for someone else going through their own process, but it allows you to be prepared to be uncomfortable.
Mhm.
Holding space for people that want to go deep requires you have already visited the depth on your own, learning how to do that, regulating yourself after you've gone there, so that you can actually guide this person to this place that you've been. And I think that when we don't have that self intimacy, that self depth, we struggle to trust our own intuition and strength as a leader and a
100%.
guide.
100%. Yeah. So here we have an opportunity to foster greater intimacy with our bodies, for women to heal cycles of toxic relationship, foster their sovereignty, their agency, the capacity to trust themselves. And once again, you do it through such a beautiful portal. And when I first heard about your framework, I was like, I was truly excited. And this is the piece I love about Flourish. For experienced practitioner like you, Flourish really allows you to understand the body on a deep level, understand the sequencing of healing and sequencing of transformation, and allows established practitioners like you to really beautifully bring that together with other arts and other pieces of work and other methods, and actually create and fuel your own passion. So I love what you have created, and I love what Queen's Trip is offering. So for those that are aching to either connect with you or explore how they can work with you in Queen's Trip, what are the next steps for them?
Of course. Thank you so much for asking. I would invite, if you wanted to test out the magic of the containers that I offer and take yourself through exploring the way I work with clients, exploring what you might experience in Queen's Trip directly, I offered a 3-day ceremonial experience, which you can join the link here and it will take you through.
It's called You Are So Worthy. And we're going to do, there is a link to it in the description of this video, and I'm going to put that in the chat box now as well. Please keep going.
Beautiful. Yeah, so You're So Worthy was a 3-part ceremonial event. We actually did one part one day and the part 2 and 3 on the second day because it was the full moon. And we really wanted to use the potency of that full moon, the last full moon of 2021. So this 3-part series was, part 1 was undefining you. So taking time to undefine the stories or the beliefs, or I walked people through where they pick up narratives and stories about who they are and why they are that way. And I help them release and shed those stories that don't fit, those stories that don't make sense for them. They're like, why did I even think this to begin with? Where did I pick this up? So we shed and release all that in part 1. Part 2, I guide you into rediscovering yourself, rediscovering who you are, rediscovering your desires, what you want, what you what really turns you on or gets you excited or juiced up, what you want to call in. And then the part 3 of this series was reclaiming yourself, pledging to the person you will become, pledging to the person that you're choosing to believe you can be. And through this 3-part series, queens join together on these calls to really step into a new version of themselves, that unshakable confidence, and really being held within sisterhood already. And that's a big part of Queen Strip too, is the sisterhood component. And so on these live calls, which you can catch the replays, you'll be able to experience that. Everyone's sharing in the chat box what they're experiencing and how relatable it is that no matter where this woman comes from what walk of life, what part of her life is, we all share these opposed upon stories on ourselves that aren't even ours to keep. And until we're really guided through that process, we don't realize that we're not choosing life on our terms.
This reminds me so much of one of my mentor, Brandon Bouchard. One of his very common saying is that, as humans, we have 2 stories. We have story of struggle, the narrative of struggle, and the narrative of progress. There's struggle and there is progress. And as much as so many women are struggling, when they do want to progress, when they do want to evolve, when they do want to heal, cycles of stress, when they do want to make better decisions for themselves, when they want to, feel desire for their partner, when they want to have, good relation with money, the progress really usually, and I'm not saying here that, we don't have our own power or we don't have capacity to change ourselves, but much more progress happens by firstly having a mentor, like really having a guide in place who, been there, done that, understands the process, understands what they are doing. The second one, aside of mentor, is being in the community of women, of people who have had, to exactly what you're saying, similar stories, a difficult upbringing, patriarchy has affected them the same way, who are on the same journey, who have the same aspiration. And then aside of mentor and community is to actually have a curriculum, is to have a method and process that is designed to progress and create that evolution that you desire. And that's like really what I'm seeing in your Queen Strip. That is all of that. You are extraordinary mentor. You are embracing the queens already who they are, but they probably will more emerge into that queendom in themselves. And you have just outstanding curriculum. So with all of that being said, for those women that just like, let me skip that free stuff. Like I am ready to get on a call with Andreja. I'm ready to discuss whether this is the right option for me. I have a little bit of trepidation, but there's like so much opportunity I'm seeing for myself. What is the best next step for women who are just like ready to straight connect with you and talk about joining your program?
Absolutely. I always offer a free session to anybody who is interested in exploring this work, or if you just want an hour to be held and guided and supported, you at no strings attached. You are worthy of that time. You are worthy of a session of feeling completely held and witnessed. And that also comes with a week of integration possibility. So if you have things show up after the session, you're able to reach out to me for a week on after. And really, like, you can always reach out with questions and transmissions that show up later. But knowing that you get a little extra held and support for a container of 7 weeks or 7 days after the session as well. So this is an opportunity for you to take up space, do something edgy for yourself, I agree to show up for an hour for myself. That's a self-care move right there, right? So that's that action behind the desire. And I invite anyone who's interested in, you could show up and ask questions about me. You could bring anything you want support around. just really giving yourself the gift of an hour of high level support on my dime.
Oh my God, what an invitation. What a generous and beautiful invitation out of support on your time. So for those of you who would love to step into that, we have a link in the description of this video. I've also just dropped the link in the comments, and it's just such a beautiful opportunity to connect with Andreja and get 1 hour of high level support, because you are so worthy. You truly are.
And I want to add one more thing to that, Dagmar. There's an intake form when you sign up for a call with me.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where a lot of people get stuck. Okay. So they're already confronted by the work on the intake form, right? Because it asks some investigatory questions. So I want to also invite you to the intake form and that beginning that process of the depth and internal intimacy with self, and how just by filling out the intake form, you're already self-caring. And then by doing the call too, it's a 2-step process, 2 actions of self-caring, taking care of yourself, stepping into that deep self-intimacy, and receiving nourished high-level support.
Beautiful, beautiful. So what do you see for women? And this will be kind of like our final question here. What do you see for women that go through this Queen's Drip process and this Queen's Drip rite of passage? What do you see? Like, what is the vision for you as the facilitator for every woman in the group?
Oh, I see like everything from deep rooted ancestral trauma being healed, to making more money than they've ever imagined, to having more pleasure and satisfaction in their life than they've ever had before, to ending relationships, leaving jobs, asking for raises, finding healing sisterhood wounds and trauma from other women that have like not been able to love you because they couldn't love themselves. Like, I plan and that the Queen's Drip break through that omniscience of the word self-love and cement it and anchor it for every queen involved, while also being able to share that love with the women involved, and everyone coming out feeling empowered and erotic and turned on and connected to themselves and each other, feeling stronger, safer, healthier, brighter, shinier, more sparkly, and just dripping in that royal worthiness essence than ever. Like,
just for that, it's like it's worth all the time and everything involved. Oh,
yes.
Andreja, you are true blessing. I am so excited what you're creating. I'm so excited for the woman that will be in your Queen's Drip experience. I'm so excited for every single woman that checks out your You Are So Worthy series, that gets the 1 hour royal support with you on a call. I'm so honored for this just delicious conversation that we have had. And let's make these next 5 months the most sensual and blissful and delightful experience for women, because we are meant to thrive. We truly are.
Yes, and just thinking about where you want to be at in June, right? Like stepping into that summer energy. Like, how would you like to feel it come June, come summer, come sun, like in your body? And how does that look for you, right? Because it could look really drippy and juicy if you wanted to.
Andreja, thank you again. It's been an honor having you with us, and we'll see you soon. Take care.
Thank you so much.